Ken Pyle with YoTV. We're at the Parks Associates Smart Energy Summit. We're with Rory Jones of YoUtilBill. And
pronounced YoUtilBill.
YoUtilBill, okay. And what you do is you help utilities help their customers understand where their electricity is going. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your demand response service?
Sure. So it's not demand response. So we are about demand reduction.
We're down. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And what we do is we provide an array of services to a utility that helps them deliver on reduced demand within their area. And that the service extends, the range extends from providing a media service, so we go out and help them with their advertising, their outreach services. We also provide a service that deals with the ground game, what we call the ground game, which is outreach in schools, trying to get the kids to influence the parents, outreach in employers, trying to get influencing the employees. And we also provide a set of tools that reside on the web, on the websites of utilities and local governments, and you use those tools as a way to guide consumers into taking action.
Well, in California, you mentioned there's the 30% reduction, I believe, by, was it 2020 or something? That so there's a real need by these utilities to make sure the demand is reduced, right?
That's right. And so there's AB 32 that was passed several years ago that puts a mandate on local governments to reduce their demand in their areas by 30% by 2020. A lot of them have accelerated that to 2015. And then I think by 2050 they have to get it down by 80%. That's 80%. That's a significant reduction.
Well, what was interesting about your program, I mean, clearly you've got the outreach efforts, but you also have a tool that, why don't you talk a little bit about that tool?
Sure. I think the basis of it is you have to basically segment your consumer population. And it turns out that when you do that, the top 20% of consumer is consuming about 40% of the energy in the state. And so if you're able to focus on those guys and find ways of persuading them to change their behaviors, perhaps change some of their equipment, install solar, something like that, then you can get some pretty decent results. And so what we've done is created a piece of software, an algorithm that again goes onto the websites of local governments and utilities. And what that software does is it provides an optimization for the consumer. So if the consumer does a 2-minute tool and tells us about what's going on in the house and how energy is used and what the equipment is in the house, the tool will then come back to the consumer and say, here is 5, 6, 7 things that you should do, and they're prioritized so that you make the largest amount of money in savings. And so the idea is if you put a large amount of savings on the table for the consumer, they will take action. Mm-hmm. The larger the amount of money, the more action they will take. And so if you're able to optimize, if you're able to figure out, instead of changing windows, perhaps I should change my insulation, or instead of changing the insulation, maybe I should change the fridge. If you figure out exactly the best thing to do, then you'll end up with the largest pot of money, and that's exactly what one of the tools does that we put onto the websites for our clients.
And then you take it to the next step. You make it easier, helping them with rebates and contractors and so forth.
Helping them with rebates and making it actually happen. The thing to know is that the top 20% of consumers, typically in California, are paying $300, $400, $500 per month, which comes out per year at $7,000, and that's growing over time. And so the amounts of money that's actually, if you were to optimize it, the amounts of money that's on the table for those consumers to get stuff done is often $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. And that's a college fund, right? That's a retirement fund, and so it's enough to persuade people to act. The second part of the equation isn't just the money; it's the hassle, right? It's okay. So you may have made it worth my while, but then how much hassle do I have to undergo to make it all work? And so what the tool does, or the sequence of tools that we have, allows the consumer to go in and get the rebates that they are going to apply for. It allows that to happen very quickly and easily. It allows them to apply for financing. This is special government-based financing that allows you to change your air conditioner and move home and let the next person who buys your home. So that's PACE financing. Sure. And also the software helps you find contractors. So basically the idea is to make a large amount of money available to the consumer on the table and then make the whole process easy to happen.
Well, and back to your marketing outreach, then, do you also target those customers who are the high bill payers and target them with the message that this is available?
That's exactly the point. And in fact, we understand that consumers first need to be engaged. To date, a lot of engagement programs haven't been terribly effective, so we brought on staff, a lot of folks that are very good at reaching out to consumers from media, that's billboards, advertising, but broadcast and print, specifically to engage the consumer and get them to the website where they can see how much money is available to them. We also do a more proactive campaign. There's another version of the tool where the software crawls around the web, pulling information about every consumer in the area, and actually comes up with an assessment of how much money is on the table for that particular client. Then we send out a postcard to that client saying, we've had a look at your situation based on publicly available information. We believe that there's about $30,000, $40,000 on the table. All you have to do is to come to the website and make it work. And they get onto the website, do a 2-minute review of the tool, and if they want to, they push a button. The county would send out an auditor free of charge. The auditor will go through a much more detailed tool, audit if that's necessary, and come up with a much more accurate assessment of how much money is on the table and exactly what actions they need to undertake to make it work.
And those notices, though, would be coming from the utility themselves, so there's a little bit of credibility that...
That's correct. So everything we do is behind the scenes. We are a service, a transparent service for the utility and the local government, and so it's all done in their brand name. As Parks here in this show is showing, some of their research indicates that the utility has a very high trust factor with the consumer. Something in the order of 70 or 80% of consumers trust them more than they trust the phone company, more than they trust contractors, which are actually quite low. And so if you compare everybody, it's really the local government and utility that have the highest trust factor. So we like to work behind their brand and just provide them with the advice and the tools.
Well, Rory, I appreciate your explanation, and good luck in
Thank you for coming
helping them work behind the scene.
Take care.